What's going on, y'all? It's JD PicKell. Today on the Hard Count, we're going to give you our top 5 quarterbacks heading into the 2022 season. Welcome into CFB with JD, the People's Channel. Every single thing you know and that you love about college football happens here on a nearly daily basis. Jack McKenzie, Garrett Ross, doing the heavy lifting, help drive the show at my Twitter page at JD PicKell. It is no secret that the college football world is run by quarterbacks. So, took a look at this coming season, took a look at some of the guys to watch, and we just said, okay, going into the season, who are the top 5 dudes? Now, I want to make it very clear. This is not a projection. This is not a predicted final standings as to the Heisman race or anything like that. This is just coming into the season with what we know, statistically, what's been on tape, what they have around them. Who are the top 5 signal callers in all of the land? At number 5, we got NC State's Devin Leary. Now, Leary is a guy that a lot of people are excited about. A lot of people are excited about NC State. Had nearly 3,500 yards a season ago, 35 touchdowns, 5 picks. He's got some gunslinger in him. But when you have a gunslinger in you, typically you see more interceptions. I don't see that with Devin Leary. Only 5 interceptions. Like I mentioned, he does a good job commanding the football downfield. When he throws the football, different quarterbacks have different motions and different arc on the football. When he throws it downfield vertically, that thing is coming in like a missile, hitting his guy in stride. Very accurate and has great command of his team. And so the thing that I'm looking at with Leary, can he and NC State take the throne that feels like in a lot of ways pretty open in the ACC? Because Clemson is a big question mark, especially at quarterback. Pitt, enormous question mark. Miami's in the hunt. Can NC State grab that conference by the throat? A lot of it depends on what Devin Leary does in 2022. Nevertheless, dude is a baller and is going to be someone to watch as we head into the fall. At number 4, Brennan Armstrong from Virginia is a guy that I like a lot. Now, he's going to have his work cut out for him. Brand new coach, in a lot of ways a brand new system. He accounted for 41 touchdowns a season ago, 31 over the air, 10 on the ground, 10 interceptions. That interception number is a little bit higher than you would like it to be, but the thing that I love about him, the scouting report for me, is he's a dual threat, so he can hurt you on the ground. Does a great job through the air. Similar to Leary, he throws a very good deep ball. Even more than that, he's a competitor. Like, he wears the war paint across the face. You don't see quarterbacks wear that. I mean, you see the cute little blocks on either side. He does the full streak across the nose. And then when you see him on the field, he is full of emotion, and he is doing whatever it takes for his team to be successful. Whether that's a zone read, he's lowering the shoulder on 3rd and goal to run over a linebacker and get in the end zone, or whether it's he has to scramble and buy time and find one of his guys in the back of the end zone. He just finds ways to will his team to success. Now, like I said, it's not going to be an easy task in 2022. The offensive line has some question marks. Anytime you have a new head coach, the team has to gel. But for Brennan Armstrong to come back to Virginia this coming season, I mean, the Hoos should be fired up. I mean, the Cavs should be fired up in Virginia. At number 3, some names that you're a little bit more familiar with. Caleb Williams. Everybody knows his story, made headlines and then some in the college football world when he transferred from Oklahoma to USC, said, hey, Lincoln Riley's my guy. I would have walked on under him at Oklahoma. I'm going to take a scholarship with him in sunny Southern California. Elite athlete, right? Like, in terms of just this top 5, he's probably the most gifted physically of all of them. Did a lot of great things for Oklahoma a season ago. At times, though, you saw him have some true freshman moments. There were times, especially against Baylor, when he came to Waco and he was making throws off his back foot into double coverage and having careless turnovers and not tucking the football and having fumbles in different games at crucial points. So at times you would see really, really good Caleb Williams that would cause everybody to say, okay, he's the future of the sport. He's the future of the sport. He's the future of the game going forward. And there were also times where you're like, yeah, I guess he was just at prom a few months ago. So for Caleb Williams, the big point for me is this is a huge opportunity. At the same time, this, to me, is a hinge point in his career. What do I mean by that? With all that he put on tape a season ago and all the hype that he has coming to USC, if he knocks it out of the park, I mean, it's a grand slam. He gives himself first-round status locked in more or less, depending on what he does in his junior season, but locks that in a lot of ways his sophomore year in USC with all the talent they have on that team. I mean, they have no ceiling. At the same time, if he fails to take that next step, if he fails to progress as a passer and fails to progress in the system, it's a long way to fall. And the comp for me in terms of situation is like DJ Uiagalelei at Clemson. He was raking in NIL deals, and everyone was talking about him being the Heisman Trophy winner before the season. I had money on him winning the Heisman before the season even started a year ago, candidly. So for Caleb Williams, obviously much more of a sample size, but don't get it twisted. There's a long way to fall for him. He has to prove a lot of people right, but for my money, I think he's the third best quarterback in the country going into 2022. At number 2, you got CJ Stroud of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Lots of new weapons for him. They're on the hunt for a Big Ten title, but the dude completed 71% of his passes a year ago. Like, that's video game kind of numbers. For the ball to only touch the ground 29% of the time when he's throwing it, not even considering drops, like, that is impressive. Shows his maturation in terms of taking on the system very quickly, taking the next step in that system. I expect him to be a fiend. Now, no Chris Olave, no Garrett Wilson. It's going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. and Jackson Smith and Jigba getting in jiggy with it this coming season. If he continues to make great decisions, continues to be effective throwing the ball downfield and taking the next step, commanding this offense, Ohio State's going to be in the playoff. And the only issue with that, the only thing to consider with that is everybody and their mother is saying that. I mean, you look at way too early preseason predictions, it's Ohio State and it's Alabama in the college football national championship in 2022. That's the prediction. So I think there was a lot of weight on his shoulders coming into last season, and he kind of sputtered out the gate. He had a slow start against Tulsa, had a slow start in the first half against Minnesota. That was his first start ever. Didn't play phenomenal against Oregon, obviously. So we're being nitpicky here. I mean, he still only had like 6 interceptions compared to, I want to say he was in the neighborhood of 40 touchdowns. So he's still balled out. That's why he's number 2 on our list. But how does he handle that pressure, being the guy, being the year where Ohio State's supposed to play for a national title? I'm very curious to see how he responds. And at number 1, the most proven commodity, he's got the Heisman Trophy somewhere on his mantle in his apartment in Tuscaloosa. Bryce Young. What will he do for an encore? The scouting report on him: makes amazing decisions, is extremely poised, even when things are going crazy all around him, even when he has to ad-lib, he's on the run, he's making laterals left and right, he still looks just the definition of calm. I love the way that he commands his offense, throws the ball downfield very effectively. He's going to have new weapons around him. No more Jameson Williams, no more John Mechie. They're still going to have dudes. He has Jahmyr Gibbs lined up next to him now he can hand the ball to. The point for me is, when you are now a known commodity as Bryce Young, you're not sneaking up on anybody. You weren't really sneaking up on anybody too much a year ago, but now you have a year of film on you. How do you adapt your game? This may be in the more hot take department, but I think Bryce Young has to adapt and adjust his game a little bit in order to play for a national title. Because we saw in the SEC title game, he tore Georgia up. I mean, he did what he wanted. He put on a clinic. He was passing out juice boxes and T-shirts to the Georgia defense after that SEC title game. Fast forward to the national title game, and Georgia had him confused. Through that pick 6 that was costly to Keely Ringo to seal the deal, he just looked confused. And so they're not going to play Georgia every week, obviously. There's going to be times where they just show up and they're Alabama, and that's all there is to it. Doesn't matter if Bryce Young's playing or not. They're Alabama, and they're going to roll. No pun intended on Roll Tide. But I want to see how he takes that next step in his game. Can he beat you when it's, hey, Bryce, we're not going to let you run the football. Also, we're taking away Jahmyr Gibbs. So you got to beat us strictly with your arm. Is he able to do that? Is he able to just will his team, similar to what I love about Brennan Armstrong? I'm excited to see that. I think the answer is yes, and obviously he's our number 1 quarterback going into 2022, but I'm excited to see how does Bryce Young evolve and adapt his game to take it to the next level, to ultimately allow his team to compete for a national championship. So to recap, Bryce Young is our best quarterback in the country, CJ Stroud at number 2, Caleb Williams at 3, Brennan Armstrong at 4, and NC State's Devin Leary at 5. Those are our top 5. We'll have this conversation again, I'm sure, after they're finished playing games. But this has been the Hard Count. This is CFB with JD. We appreciate you tuning in. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter. We're going to keep the party rolling, and we will see y'all next time.